So it's 6 o'clock now. Do you want it to start or wait for Mike?
You can go ahead and start. We have a quorum, so.
Yeah, and we are live.
Okay. I want to bring the Lawrence County Developmental Disabilities Board meeting to order February 9th, 2021 at 6:01 p.m.
Mike Gore, Deborah Jones,
Here.
Sarah Marks,
Here.
Lou Piles,
Here.
Brandon Smith,
I'm here.
Steve Thompson.
I read his lips. He said here.
Okay.
Okay. Julie, are there any changes to the agenda?
I have one change. Under executive session 10E, I want to also add another executive session to discuss employment matters. And that would be ORC 121-22G1 to consider employment of a public employee. I want to add that to 10E. So there would be two executive sessions. We'll just go in one time, but it'll be for two different reasons.
Okay. Larry, are there any public comments?
There's not.
Okay. Did everyone get their minutes?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Are there any questions about the minutes? Any revisions, changes?
No?
Okay, I need a motion for the approval of minutes for the January organizational meeting and the January monthly meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion, Debbie.
Is there a second?
I'll second. It's Sarah.
Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Had my head down.
Miss Jones,
Yes.
Miss Marks,
Yes.
Miss Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson. Got it.
Okay, for the board committees, we need to schedule a finance meeting. I know we can't hear you, Steve. Do you have a preference, Lou, Steve? Because it'll be the three of us.
Okay. I always work late on Wednesdays and Thursdays, so anything but that for me.
Julie, does this have to be, how soon do we need to do it?
I'd like to do it before the March board meeting.
Okay. Do you all want to do it next Tuesday, or you can't do that, Steve?
Next Tuesday?
No, Steve can't do it.
Okay.
No, I can't. Oh. What about the weekend?
I think, are you swamped with taxes? Okay, he probably needs to meet on the weekend. Okay, Friday, Sunday. Next Sunday,
You can meet on a Sunday. Lou,
The 14th?
I can do that.
What time?
Afternoon. I can do any time that day.
Sunday's fine for me.
You want to do like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
Two? Okay.
He's saying 2. So, well, you all will be my sweethearts that day, won't you? It's
Yes.
Day.
We have nothing better to do but have a finance committee meeting on Valentine's
On
Day.
Valentine's Day.
Okay, Sunday,
And
2 p.m. on the 14th.
then Amy, of course, need you there.
Does that work for you, Amy?
Does that work for you?
As far as I know, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Finance and expenses, Amy.
Yes, ma'am. General fund expenses, of course, we're at the beginning of the year, so expenses exceed revenues right now through January by $302,856.63. We have received 161%, please forgive me, 1.61%. I wish it was 161. 1.61% of our budgeted revenues through January. And even though expenses exceed revenues, we are below projections for expenses through January. So that is good news. And I don't have any HR items to present or any other items to present today. Are there any other questions or that you may have that I might could answer?
I don't have any, Amy.
I
Okay.
don't either. Okay. I need a motion to approve the January finance and expense report.
Steve,
Steve? And a second.
I'll second.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Marks,
Yes.
Ms. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson. Okay.
He says yeah.
Mhm.
Superintendent report.
Well, I did submit a written report ahead of the meeting, but just wanted to give a few highlights. First, we hope to have a new board member, I hope by the March meeting. So I really appreciate your working with me in allowing the training to be rescheduled for March. So we're hoping to have that done. And we've had a very busy month with COVID vaccines, and the SSA department has done a great job in helping to coordinate those efforts, as well as Jeff and his staff and the Open Door School staff. Everyone's really pitched in to have these clinics for vaccinations. So I'm really, very, very happy about that. And I think that we've gone above and beyond, to make sure our people get the vaccine. So if you have any questions about anything in my report, please feel free to ask, but I don't have anything else to add at this time.
Okay. Old business.
So I am going to reschedule the board member training for March, and I'm hoping to have something good. So,
Okay. I thought maybe you might already know what the topic was.
well, I have some ideas. So, but I'm going to wait. Hopefully, I'll let you know as soon as I have a confirmation.
Is that before the board meeting, Julie?
Yes, at 5 o'clock.
Right.
But I am working on it.
Okay. New business?
I wanted to introduce Tim Sexton to the new board members. Tim is our investigative agent, and we have a requirement to do investigations whenever there is an individual with DD that may have been involved with, an abuse situation or misappropriation or neglect. Tim is a person that goes out and investigates and then has to report to the Ohio Department of DD, who oversees all of the investigations that county boards participate in. So the 2020 annual report is complete, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for Tim to just briefly go over the report. He's going to be going over it with all of the stakeholders in the DD community here, but I thought it would be a great idea for him to just briefly go over what we saw in 2020. And so I just wanted I'll let Tim take it from here.
All right, well, thanks for having me. And I will be brief. It's my understanding that you did receive a copy of the report.
Yes.
So I'm obviously not going to sit here and go over it verbatim. I'm just going to touch on some highlights. And especially for our new board members, just explain briefly, when an incident occurs, that if they're under the care of an independent provider, or if they're under the care of an agency provider, or even at their own home, if something occurs that needs to be reported, that's where I come into play. Unusual incident reports are supposed to be written. They're supposed to be sent to me by 3 o'clock the following day when something does occur, if it's a possibility of being a major unusual incident. And then from there, I classify it if it is a major unusual incident, or most commonly known as an MUI. And from there, I investigate it. There are 19 different categories, and the categories are all separated in Appendix A, B, and C category. The most serious are the ones that fall under Category A when it comes to an investigation, because it's a more thorough investigation that's conducted. An example of being not so thorough is in a Category C. If a person's hospitalized, the investigation may just conducted by me may just be talking to the SSA, maybe a family member, gathering medical documents, and just making sure that there's not some type of abuse or neglect that is the reason that they've gone to the hospital. So that's just sort of some of the catch and balances in our DD system through the investigations and records that we collect. But this year, or this past year in 2020, there were 162 major unusual incidents that were investigated. And the year before was 140. The year before that was 175. So there are quite a few that occur. And again, some of them are number one is the hospitalizations, which it's called an unanticipated hospitalization. And again, that helps us to, to rule out that there's some type of abuse or neglect. It's not uncommon with the different illnesses that that the individuals that we serve may have. It's not uncommon for people to often go to a hospital and to be admitted. And the admission is what makes it a major unusual incident. Every time somebody goes to an ER or to a doctor or something, that is not a major unusual incident. They have to be admitted into a hospital, and they have to be receiving services that are paid through developmental disability funds or through a waiver. But this past year, as your report reflects, there was 98 male involved in MUIs, and there were 64 female. The average age was about 33 years of age for those who were involved in major unusual incidents. And you'll see the Category A investigations. There were 29. There were 31 in Category B and 102 in Category C. I've looked at, if you have your report there, but it goes by agency providers as well. And you'll notice a big discrepancy in the number one provider versus number two. There's a company, NECO, has a lot of MUIs that I investigated. And it simply can be simply because of the clientele, and because of some of the issues that may exist with some of the individuals in a program. So that's why there's such a discrepancy there. And they do serve quite a few individuals throughout Lawrence County. We have, I believe now, 20 agency providers that I work with, and 60 independent providers that work with me or work through me in investigating cases that they may report or that may occur. And if you'll notice under the MUI occurrence locations, there's a large number where there was 105 out of those 162 that occurred that was in a shared or supported living program. An example of a supported living program is NECO having an individual that they care for 24/7, maybe in a home or in an apartment setting. So that's an example of a supported living. And then shared living can be even a parent, that person, an individual is at their home and they're getting paid some to help care for them. And a shared living can also be where an individual is living with another person in a shared living in their own home. So those are just some examples that you'll see that the vast majority, 105, occurred in such incidents, major unusual locations. I did explain, or tried to explain in my report, trends analysis, and Julie mentioned earlier that I will be having a meeting in March with stakeholders. The reason for the collection of this data, not only to help the state, follow what's going on in Lawrence County and throughout the state of Ohio, but when I meet with stakeholders, what we are supposed to be doing is watch for trends and analysis, and we try to come up with prevention mechanisms. What can be done to prevent some of these things from occurring, especially repeat. And we have to look, there's two different categories that we look at specifically. If a person has had 6 or more MUIs within a 6-month period, or if they've had 10 in an entire year, we have to look and talk about those cases and decide what needs to be done, what can be done, or what has been done that maybe it's not working. So that's when we meet with stakeholders. And typically I have anywhere from 12 to 20 people to attend those meetings through invitation. And there's quite a good discussion that goes on in those meetings. And it's very helpful to have those meetings. But if you look under category A, again, I've explained there's 29, and I've explained the different ones that are broken down. I've tried to write some paragraphs about some of the more serious ones that we had throughout the year. In neglect cases, typically the main cause for neglect when I'm involved is in a major unusual incident is a supervision lapse or a medicine incident where somebody has not received their medicine. They've been given the wrong medicine. And then, we get those people medical attention, or the providers do, if they need that, because we've had incidents where people were given, like 2 roommates, one person was given the other's medicine. So, again, that becomes a major unusual incident, and we try to, it's a simple solution just to make sure that they're following the process of the medicine pass training that they received, the certification. So that's just an example of the neglect cases and the typical neglect cases I have. Physical abuse, a lot of times we get reports, somebody says somebody did something to them, they hit them, they pushed them. I personally have not seen a lot, which is a good thing, a lot of outward signs of physical abuse upon people's bodies since I've been the investigative agent here. I'm not going to sit here and say that does not happen, but when it comes to our attention, it's an immediate investigation that's began. The agency will not allow that person to work around that person. And if there's enough evidence at the outset, they'll probably terminate them immediately. So the physical abuses we have, it's not unusual for them not to be substantiated, simply because it's somebody telling me that something happened, but there's no evidence or proof that exists that can help us to, determine if that's a substantiated case or not. When I say substantiation, my cases are not criminal cases. If they can be a criminal case and a criminal charge, I work with law enforcement. I reach out to them and they must be involved, or Child Protective Services. So that's a difference. You talk about guilty, not guilty. In my world right now, that used to be my world, but in the world now with the developmental disabilities investigations, those are administrative, and I have to determine whether it's substantiated or not substantiated. And that's, and then we have an abuser registry. If it's a serious enough case, the state of Ohio, typically what they will do upon review of that case, they will call, get our entire file, and then they will schedule an abuser registration hearing for that person. And they're called a PPI in the developmental disabilities world, or a primary person of interest, versus in the criminal world, a defendant or suspect. Verbal abuse, again, that's when somebody talks to somebody in a humiliating way, aggressive to them, maybe threatening to them. And I do not receive a lot of complaints, but it's for the last 3 years, every year I get 4 a year. So, and typically probably 85–90% of those have been substantiated. And typically they are met with termination by an employer, or at the very least a retraining, and then they're moved away from that individual they may have been verbally abusive to. Does anybody have a question about anything at this point? Significant injuries. Again, this year that actually went up a little bit. We had 12 this year, and I actually think COVID had something to do with that, because about all of these injuries occurred at home. And I think them being at home more, they were more, they were more aware of their environment, obviously, but they were just, they may not have eyes on supervision all the time because they may not be required to have that. And maybe they were just a little more careless at their home. And a lot of times, it's because of a fall that they get an injury. For instance, recently I just had one where he found had a clavicle that broke. Another time a person was out to an outing with an agency and they went down off of the step, twisted and fractured an ankle. So those are the type of injuries we typically see with a significant injury. And then you'll see in category C's, unanticipated hospitalizations. There were 60 of those. And every year, those are the highest amount of cases that we have. And then the next highest is the unapproved behavioral support, which were 36 last year. And out of those 36, actually 56% of those 36 incidents were just 2 different individuals. So we do have, individuals that we have some behavioral issues. And what an unapproved behavioral support is basically when they're placed in a hold. It's not improper that they be put in a hold, but they have to be trained to initiate a hold, and they have to limit it to a certain amount of time and release them from a hold. So we do see that in several different incidents throughout the year. So, but again, the major unusual instance, it's a very good checks and balance for the DD system. I feel very good about the reporting that's done by independent providers and by agency providers. They have to keep logs of what unusual incidents occur. And last year we were able to get about 80% of all the independents to send reports that they're supposed to send, and 100% of the agencies, because each year they're supposed to send me a year-end report. So that's increased quite a bit. And then the cases that we have, that's very important. I learned when I came here, it was a year they were having an accreditation, and it's very important to have a high percentage of the cases that you have that are received and entered and investigated in a timely manner according to the DD rules. and we're 97.45%. So, you know, that's something that we can be proud of, and I think the state is happy about that's occurring, that percentage is raised. So, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. That's very quick rendition of major unusual incidents. I'm the only one that investigates them, and occasionally we may have to have an outside entity, but again, I work with as needed with Child Protective Services, with law enforcement, and I enjoy what I do, and I think the Ohio should be proud of the DD system, because I do think there are a lot of different checks and balances built within the system, whether it be a day program, whether it be the rules that people have to follow, the reports they have to send in. But I'm just, I appreciate the opportunity to do what I'm doing right now. But no questions, right? There's never any questions in MUI. That's all right.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate all you do.
All right. Well,
Yes,
thanks for
thank
having
you,
me. And
Tim.
You do a
everybody
great job.
Yes,
Thank you.
he does.
have a great evening.
You too.
You too.
Thank
I'm not
you.
going to stay.
Okay.
Darn.
Bye, Tim. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Okay, acceptance of board member resignation, Alicia Baker, effective 1/12/21. Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion, Debbie.
I'll second.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Marks,
Yes.
Mrs. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
And we're going to skip down to open door.
Okay. The ODS resolution.
So this is something that DD boards per statute have to do every year when they operate a school. They have to, by February, let the public school districts know if they are not going to be providing school services the following year. So every year we have to make a decision. And I am recommending that we continue with school services and complete the resolution. You will note that on the resolution, I did put that the districts would continue to be responsible for therapy services and except for speech, but they would be responsible for OT, PT, and transportation. That is something that we added last year, and that will continue. So I am recommending that we complete this resolution to continue open door school program next year.
I need a motion to approve the ODS resolution for 2021-2022 school year.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Marks,
Yes.
Ms. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Lisa, how, and Julie, how are we going to get the signatures on there? Do you want, I mean, everybody would have to come by there to sign, right?
Yes. We'll figure something out. We'll figure it out. I mean, it's really more of a ceremonial thing. I mean, the board, it'll be recorded in our minutes that it is approved, and maybe we can just.
Does this have to be sent to the schools or anything?
No,
Okay,
no, I will enter into contracts with each school district
okay,
later. This is just something we're required to do.
okay.
We have to do the resolution before the end of February.
Okay.
You just do electronic signature, Julie?
We could do that.
Yeah.
Lisa, could you please call Brad? For some reason, the number I have for him is not working.
Yes, I will.
To let him know he can go ahead and join.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that, Debbie.
That's okay. So we're down to the executive session, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. I need a motion to go into executive session to meet with legal counsel to discuss pending or imminent court action, ORC 121.22 G3, and for personnel and employment, ORC 121.22 G1.
And then administrators, you're free to go after you're free to go at this point. You don't need to stay unless you want to.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Thank you, Sarah. It was good to see everybody. Is
I'll
there?
second.
Okay, thanks, Lou.
Julie, I just talked to him and he's joining.
Okay, can you go ahead and do the roll call to go into executive session?
Yes, I will.
I have 6:32.
Yep. Miss Jones,
Yes.
Miss Marks,
Yes.
Miss Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
He says yes.
Okay.
Okay, and you're going to create the room, Larry?
Yeah, I'm creating a breakout room right now and I'll throw everybody in it.
Hi, Brad.
Hello, how's it
Hi,
going?
Brad.
Good. How are you?
Good.
We're going to go to a breakout room. We just voted to go into executive session, and
Okay.
we're going to, if you're familiar with Star Trek, we're going to be beamed over. So,
Okay. Oh, looks like here's my notice. I'll join in.
yep.
Lisa,
Yes.
can you stop your video? Are you going to hang on here?
I think so.
If you're going to hang on, do a stop on your video so that I can put up the message that we're in executive session.
I can't get it to go anywhere and do anything. I can't even get it to mute.
Really?
Because I have a message that says join breakout room. Larry Wade is inviting you. Should I say not now?
No, yeah, you don't want to do that.
Not now.
Right.
Do I need to do something else now?
You need to go down at the bottom where the video camera is. You need to stop video.
I never started it. It's marked out.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to mute. And the only thing on the screen is your name and the word executive session. So I think we're okay.
Okay.
But I'm going to mute, and you may want to mute too, just
I will.
to be safe.
Okay.
All right. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes.
They're in executive session. I'm going to see if I can get you in there.
All righty.
I'm not sure. Yes. You don't have a message to join the breakout room or anything? Oh, here we go. Hold on.
Yeah, it says please wait to be assigned.
Okay, there you go. I think you have to accept it.
We're back.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear it. We
I
can
wonder
hear
what
you.
happened to my sound. It never worked before. Who knows?
Oh, at least you could talk now, Steve.
Hi, Larry. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Can you talk, Steve?
Yeah, Steve can talk.
Okay.
Will we be doing this Zoom on Sunday?
Well, that's up to you all. I mean, I don't,
I don't care if we meet down at the open door school. We ought to be socially distanced.
Yeah, that's fine with me. And then Amy,
We'll do it 2 o'clock down there then.
okay, Amy, if you're not comfortable with that, we can Zoom you in. I'm fine with it.
I'll have to bring Di,
That's fine.
and she's had a vaccination, both doses, and she'll have a mask.
Okay. So we need a motion to come out of the,
Yeah, I need a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll second it. And I have 7:15.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Marks,
Yes.
Ms. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
And Mike's here.
Oh, he
Oh,
is?
Mr. Gore. I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oops.
Mike, I told
Mike,
him,
when you're late.
Mike, I told him there was a new sheriff in the Gore household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike.
There's only one sheriff.
And it's not you.
We need
It
to
most
vote on
certainly is
that.
me.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the public relations contract with Jim Nunnery LLC.
I make the motion, Debbie.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve.
Mr. Gore,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Marks,
Yes.
Ms. Piles,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other announcements, Julie?
No.
Our next board meeting will be March 9th, 2021. At 5 p.m. will be our training.
Yes.
And 6 p.m. will be our meeting.
I'm going to have to go.
Okay. See you.
Bye,
Steve.
Steve.
Bye to Steve.
Okay. See you later.
Okay.
Make the motion to adjourn.
All right, that's Lou. And I'll second.
All right.
Anything else? And I have that at 7:17.
All right.
It was good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great to see everyone.